What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Welcome to the morning bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. It's been, God, it's such a roller coaster ride what we do, man. And this week is no different. Monday was a disappointing start. I was pretty pensive. So that happens to me after not investing thousands of dollars every day and taking a break on the weekend. And I lose some of that, that edge that you need to risk financially. And so I wasn't very good on Monday. Then Tuesday was massive. It's one of those days, up 12 units. And then I followed it up with a good day on Wednesday, something I have a difficult time doing. And then I was not good yesterday. I had some bad luck on those first three. I lost two first threes with one out left in the bottom of the third. Lost one first three under with an error from Gunnar Henderson. God, Gunnar. And then so I was 0-5 in MLB going into the last two games. I cashed the last two games, the Yankees first five, and then the first five under in the Yankees game, even though I lost the first three under. So 2-5, very disappointing in MLB. Another tough night in NFL, but we made up with it live. Now, I didn't, there's a bunch of guys in our chat on the Nightly Bag who moved on the Raiders live at huge numbers. I just took them plus 12.5. I wasn't thinking that I should take a money line. And then the under 51.5 live. I did give some back betting the Sparks live plus 20.5 during our show. That was a blunder. 2-1 though in WNBA. So we again reach a high water mark in WNBA. It's going great. Now it's a trickier card with WNBA because the huge moves already happened. Towards the Mystics. I don't understand. There's certain spots when you're capping all day, all night, all day, all week. When you miss things, I watched Olivia Miles get hurt. I watched her step on Fee's foot. Why did I not immediately then? Even if she plays tonight, clearly it's a very difficult travel situation from San Francisco to Washington, and it's a one-off. They come back home and face the Valkyries, who will be out for blood. And I didn't, and now it's 2.5. So that's but now I'm out for blood, man. I'm out for blood. It's an exciting weekend here. TJ's flying into town. I'll pick him up at the airport at 6 p.m. We have the Sports Rage 25th anniversary. Shout out to Gabe, the great Gabe Morency, the legend Gabe Morency. So I'm really excited. Really, I don't get excited to meet famous people. I don't care. But man, when I first met Gabe, I was so excited. He's such a big part. When his show came out in 2001, it was the first time that I saw sports gambling taken out of the dark recesses. We didn't need to hide it. We could celebrate it on TV. It was the Score Network, but it was Headline Sports at the time. So shout out to Gabe Morency. And then tomorrow, the Low Bag Summit of Champions at Woodbine Racetrack, 427 Rexdale Boulevard. If anybody is around the area, we'll be up at the Stella Artois Lounge, and I cannot wait for that. That's going to be extremely enjoyable. Then we head down to the football game afterwards, the Argos game, and there's rain in the forecast. Rain and booze in the forecast. Rain, booze, and blunts in the forecast. So we'll see how it all banks out. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We got stacks, plays of the day, 1 and 2. Justin McKelvey in Steelers plus 1.5. And Julio Rodriguez over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs from Justin. Says going to be in and out for the show. So my plays put in the chat. Thank you for that. Colin Gregory ready to get to work. Sick from the fall in the house. Slow Jams, Arsenal, Johnny Bender, Agent Parlay, Morgan Spooner, Turnbuckle Tommy. Excellent work on that Braves play, man. Easy cash play today is in from Turnbuckle Tommy. Let's do this. Slow Jams Arsenal's got his play today in as well. Let's get this all locked in. So we got the Red Sox from Slow Jams. We got easy cash play today from Turnbuckle Tommy on the Tigers money line. There's our guy Big Show Picks in the house. Another big week, of course, for Pub Sports MMA. Please support the channel. They're doing great work. Shout out to everybody over there, our fam. Mark Stasowski ready to get to work here. And Turnbuckle Tommy fading Cameron, coming off a 9-inning one-hit game, fading pitches off complete games as being his most profitable spot this season. AEOD ready to get to work. Great to see you. T-Moss, Jim Dewigger. Great to see all of you guys. Maddie Ice, Thank you guys for joining us. Let's get to work here and attack. Johnny Bender says, can't handicap who's bigger, Jump, Fanboy, Spooner, or Jimmy. Hey, at least you're thinking about Spooner and Jimmy. Well, we're thinking of sports. Let's get to work here. 4:10 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Braves, Milwaukee Brewers. Braves 74-53, 32-30 on the road at the Milwaukee Brewers. 78-49, 42-23 at home. There's the nuke worker. Ooh, man, are we gonna have fun? Yeah, the exhibition will be in full mood. The problem is it's raining. He means exhibit. There's a Canadian National Exhibition, CNE, like a rides and fun will be going on. Not that gamblers enjoy rides or fun. We get enough on our action alone. American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and this is the game of the day, and it starts early for us. Gives us a little bit of early action. There's Wine Time Sports in the house. Justin McKelvey with the Braves at plus 120 in his pocket. Robert Cherry was adamant last night that the Sale first 5 plus a half was the move. It might be. Weather-wise, we have nothing changing for runs, plus 4% homers, minus 2% doubles and triples, and minus 7% singles. Gio Bed in the house. Great to see you, Gio. We have Chris Sale versus Jacob Mizorowski. I don't know if it gets better than this. Pig Milk is in. Pig Milk is in. I love it. And I'm rolling with you, Pig Milk. Big Show says this is the only jersey that he hates when I wear it. That's valid. Hey, look, we have... There's teams we hate and there's teams we love. And Billy Friedrich also moved on Royals first 5, says Cameron will shove again. I can't wait to talk about all of these games. I've been sitting with them for hours and hours and hours and hours. So let's talk about Mr. Chris Sale, 12-8, 2.16 ERA, 1.02 whips, got 3.07 expected ERA. Sharpie moved on the first 7 under 4.5. And I moved on it as well. This is my first 7 of the season. I talked about it on last night's show with Sharpie that I would like to start opening up some first 7s, and this feels like the right time to do it. So I'm on that first 7 under 4.5. I'm also on the first 3 under 1.5. There was some anger with me in my card here. There are first 3s that had moved heavily immediately, and our friends with Caesars got in on them at 5:30 p.m. And I had to struggle with something I'm sure we all struggle with at times, where we like a bet so much, but we're going to be getting such a worse line than our friends. And then do we still move on it? And I decided to still move on 2 games where I got, I'm being CLV'd. Like, my friends are just sitting back laughing and I'm sweating buckets. So that was some issues. And that was an issue here for this one. So I moved on the first 3 under 1.5, a minus 115. You could get plus 115, plus 120, at other books. It was just, this is my only book for first 3s. Professor Chris says, am I the only one on the Braves? Model has Braves money line, so I bet him at plus 126. Look, what Sharpie and I were talking about last night on Nightly Bag was, is it a red flag, that you can get the Braves and Chris Sale first 5 for so cheap? You can get them plus a half for so cheap. It's what we were discussing and dealing with. And although when I first thought of the price point on first 5 plus a half on Chris Sale with low volatility, I thought, wow, that's going to be so expensive. And it was so cheap, and it threw me for a loop. Chris Sale's an absolute monster. There's no getting around it. The idea that him and Mizorowski will both step up their game is very legitimate here when they're facing each other. We see when aces face each other that you get the best out of both of them quite often. Last time we saw Chris Sale Friday, August 14th, 6 innings, 1 earned run, and a 2-0 loss home versus the Diamondbacks. Start before that, he wasn't that good at the Yankees. 3 earned runs over 6. Start before that, he was incredible. Citi Field, doesn't allow a run over 6 innings, strikes out 9, doesn't walk a batter. Very, very good. Matty Ice says Sale made his debut in 2010. Mizorowski was 8 years old and in 2nd grade here. Sharpie said, after doing my work, if anyone is getting hit here, I hate to say it, but it's Sale, says Sharpie. Mr. Heat looking at the Nerfy. Swiggy asking about the Nerfy. I mean, there's an extremely expensive Nerfy. I don't, one thing about Sale is he can leave a couple pitches up, and we saw that in the game against the Padres. Padres hit a 3-run home run off him. It was an infield hit and a hit by pitch. I believe that was the way it went. and then the 3-run shot. Then he doesn't get touched the rest of the game. So I'm a little somewhat concerned, somewhat apprehensive about first inning action. Respect Johnny Bender, respect. Yurfee. Sorry, Mr. Heat. Yurfee for Mr. Heat. Oh wow. Well, there's a risk reward. Now that'll be a sweaty 6 outs for you, and it could be a fast first inning. But there's the Yurfee. Sorry, Mr. Heat. It's been a long week in numbers, man. And Sick from the Fall says the Nerfies minus 196. Goddamn. Let's talk about Mizorowski. His numbers are unbelievable. 1.75 ERA, 0.75 WHIP. Are you kidding me? 210 strikeouts in 139 innings. Unbelievable. He's a beast. But just sort of like Sale, I mean, we hold him to a higher level, and that last start was a thing of beauty at Chavez Ravine against the Dodgers. 1 run over 6 innings. But the start before that, similar to Sales, was just mediocre. 3 runs over 6 innings at home versus the Twins. He allowed 2 home runs in that game. And then, the other starts post All-Star break were very strong. Brewers bullpen 2.88 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. Braves bullpen 4.86 ERA, 1.47 WHIP. Brewers bullpen being professional, pitching at such an incredible level. Again, look at Mizorowski there. You got the exact same earned run average home and away. Just an absolute beast. Sharpie saying Mizorowski K's flew overnight from 8.5 minus 132 to the 9.5. There's just my 2 cents in the house. Pub Sports MMA in the house. When it comes to the sticks, the Braves are not hitting righties. They're hitting lefties. They're not hitting righties. 221, 658 OPS. And then the Brewers are just a professional outfit. There's nothing they don't do decent or well. And they hit lefties 233, 726 OPS. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. I got NFL up here. Our first on the board. Let's grab it. Here we go. We have 2 cents of movement to Sale. To Mizorowski. This has been sitting here at minus 142 for a long time. I didn't realize that at 2 a.m. it moved 3 cents to minus 145 because it was minus 142 when we were talking about it last night. And it's minus 142 now. So clearly we'll go over the cash flow, but it appears that there's money coming in on Chris Sale. Why wouldn't there be? The 6.5 is now a 6. Wow. Wow. What a couple of beasts on the mound, man. Absolute monsters. Let's get to the cash flow here for our first game on the board. 72% of the tickets and 85% of the cash are on Mizorowski and the Brewers. And then we have 74 and 75. That on the over, that's changed slightly. It's now 75 and 77. So I would like just to touch on the thought here. And Toby Lane says, play of the day this weekend is Browns money line from Toby Lane. Browns money line. Thank you for sharing that with us, my man. One of the things I thought about why I took the 7 is that if this is tied 2-2 after 7 innings, anybody on the first 7 under 4.5 will cash, and anybody on the full game under 6 will likely lose in extras. And maybe that will happen a small percentage of the time, but that I would like this with a low volatility game. We've all been there where we're right, and yet we lose the bet. We're wrong. The Rosie Perez school of gambling when a game goes into extras, with low volatility. And Sharpie says money on the over, and we got a 6. Yeah, feel good. Absolutely. This is what we're looking for. And Turnbuckle Tommy says 5 of Miz's last 7 starts have gone over 6 runs. And his Aaroness can still get the over 8.5 Ks for Miz. So, is Sharpie, you think that's a move that should be made here? Is if you can still get the over 8.5 Ks? I'm comfortable with my double up here. First 3 under 1.5 and full for 7 under 4.5. Very comfortable. Let's roll on. That's the game of the day. I love that it starts early to get our weekend started early, and especially for those of you out west. You get a game at 1:10 p.m. Get that Friday afternoon flying past. So there's our first game on the board. Matty Ice says, how are the Brewers versus lefties? We touched on it briefly, but they're just a professional outfit. So they're not raking lefties. They're 233 with a 726 OPS over the last 30 days. But so it's dropped a little bit, but they're still just a very professional outfit. All right, we roll on. Next spot on the board, St. Louis Cardinals at the Philadelphia Phillies, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It claims here on my line shopping site that this line was available all day yesterday at BetOnline. It wasn't. This was not available. I couldn't bet it, but I had plans for it. I had plans for the first 3 under, the first 5 under, and the Philadelphia Phillies first 5 minus a half. That was my plan. We're at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'll tell you why I've not moved on this game yet. I was pretty certain I was going to, and I have not moved on it yet. We have the Cardinals, good road team, 33. They're better on the road than they are at home. And the Phillies, not a very good home team. And both teams are better on the road than they are at home, which is obviously a strange situation. The biggest point here, and MJ Falls getting that first 301.5 plus 115. I would love to have had that, and I've got to make changes to make sure that I can get it. Can't go through another year of this again. Bottom of the 9th in the house. Great to see you. So this spot here, the key thing that I should have spent more time on last night, and I didn't start really focusing on it until after the nightly bag, was that Dobbins just faced the Phillies 2 starts back, and Luzardo did not. Luzardo started on the 9th, and Dobbins started on the 10th. And that made me uncomfortable. And then it also explained to me why Luzardo is as expensive as he is. Because I thought he was too expensive, and then I was like, why? And and then it was obviously because of this. So let's roll here. Let's get into the conditions at Citizen Bank Park. I think I touched on plus 4% runs, plus 10% homers, minus 1% doubles and triples, and minus 2% singles. So we've had very offensive conditions at Citizens Bank Park that we don't have today or tonight. Hunter Dobbins, 3-3, 3.42 ERA, 1.30 whips, got a 3.76 expected ERA. And he's been such an important pitcher for the Cards. You know, I really like the kid. He's loved in the clubhouse. He'll do whatever's asked for him. He'll run through a brick wall for his teammates. And he's not listed yet at a lot of places, which is strange. He's not listed at Bet365, which just tells me they're going to use an opener. And the reason why they need an opener here, and he's not been a primary since June 5th. He's been starting. But the reason why they need an opener is because he just saw the Phillies on August 10th. And he only made it through 5 innings. There was some bad defense behind him. He allowed 3 runs, but only 1 was earned. It was a 6-5 loss at home versus the Phillies. So he's a good pitcher. You know, if we look at these starts post All-Star break, his first start was a thing of beauty, but it was at the Angels, and it just seems like when pitchers go to Anaheim right now, they put up great numbers. Didn't allow a run over 6 innings. Still a nice start. Next start was at home versus the Cubs. They tagged him for 4 runs over 5 in the third. Then August 4th at the Yankees was phenomenal. I loved it. Now, he did allow 2 solo shots for 2 earned runs, but he looked excellent over 6 in the third. Now, the Yankees weren't hitting. And then that start against the Phillies. And then this last start against the Cubs, you know, was pretty good. 2 earned runs over 5 innings. I like him. He battles. This guy battles. But that's the fact that they need an opener because he just faced the Phillies and there's some concern, gives me concern. It gives me enough concern probably not to move on the first 3 under or the first 5 under. And it helps me understand why Luzardo is so expensive, first 5 minus a half. And I think that's where I'll end up. Now it's very expensive. The first 5 minus a half on Luzardo is minus 136 at Penny. I mean, he's an absolute beast. 3.23 ERA, 1.15 whip, 2.88 expected ERA. You know, and the fact that he missed them, he pitched on August 9th. So they started that series on Monday, August 10th with the Cards. August 9th, he was at home versus the Jays, struck out 12, allowed 2 earned runs over 7 innings. It was very impressive. He followed that up by going over to Minnesota and allowing 1 earned run over 6 2/3. So he's allowed 3 earned runs in his last 3 starts. And we used the last 3 start stanza because he had a really bad start, 4 starts back, July 29th at the Marlins. It was an outlier situation. I don't know what was going on. Shout out to Agent Parlay and Josh Witt in the house. So with this all said and done, I think I can just, you know, pay the cost for the Phillies first 5 minus a half. Phillies bullpen 4.39 ERA, 1.32 whip. Cards bullpen 4.03 ERA, 1.35 whip. Both mediocre, okay bullpens. The thing that we are, you know, really excited about here is the Cards versus lefties. 191, 658 OPS over the last 30 days. They don't get on base. They don't have power. They do very little of consequence. And the Phillies hit righties. So, I'm almost happy. I wonder if I would have pushed too quickly to bet this, because this total's gone from 8.5 to 8. They're implying that Dobbins can get the job done or Luzardo just shoves. This is moving as we speak. Look at that. So this was a minus 200 when I woke up this morning, and now we're at minus 212. So we've had 12 cents of movement here. When we get to the cash flow for this spot here, we have 78% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on Luzardo, and the total's too low for it to be a cash cow. 50-50 on the ticket count, but 53% of cash on the under. I think we make the move. Let's see if that's changed at all. I might need to place this here. It's so expensive that you really want to think it out and make sure that this is the move to be made. Sorry, let's get to baseball here. Here we go. Okay, so we have price difference here for this spot. Oh, I know it came out late. So it's way back here. Okay, the Phillies are minus 211 full game. First 5 minus 139. This is moving. And now it's so expensive. Is it too expensive? Nice job, Londo. 3-0. Okay, it's really expensive. And I want to just make sure that this is what I want. But I'm going to cut the first 3 under and the first 5 under. And it's not that I dislike them. I just think this is probably the better angle here. So that's the plan. This is Phillies first 5 minus a half, but I really need to risk I really need to think over whether that is worth the risk, worth the price. Isaac in the chat says very kind words. Thank you, man. Says for more than 10 years ago, says I remember the low bag days. Isaac, thank you for the very, very kind words, my man. It means a lot to me. It does help me push, and fight. 9 Legacy flank stake play of the day is in. It's the Blue Jays money line. He's also on the tempo and the Mystics. Let's get this all copied and pasted. Thank you for sharing that with us. 9 Legacy. We'll put that right under Toby Lane's action here. So we roll on. And Londo going to go 4-0 here. And we roll on. Londo, I'm looking forward to hear my hot Swedish girlfriend play of the day. Okay, we roll on. So I'm not moving on those unders. And it is in. Londo, if we're going for 4-0 on his plays of the day, is on the Cubbies money line. This is the Cubbies money line for Londo. We're going to go over all of our specialty plays of the day here at the end of the program. For now, we move on to Game 3, and I got to speed things up. We have a big daily sesh Friday show popping off here in 1 hour and 36 minutes. So let's hit the gas and move on to the next spot on the board. Toronto Blue Jays, New York Yankees, Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. This is a spot where I know what I want to do. Fluharty is the opener, and Spencer Arrighetti's coming in afterwards. And I want to fade Spencer Arrighetti, but it's expensive, man. It is expensive. Fluharty, it's a danger when they use their lefty as an opener, but, they want to get it off to a strong start. Arrighetti's coming in next. So he was diagnosed with Morton's neuroma in his right foot. We had to look it up to hear what the hell that was. It's like gout for athletes. It's a non-liquor related, I don't know. Arrighetti threw 3 2/3 for AAA Buffalo on Sunday, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits, and a walk, struck out 3. He had shut down Wooster for 3 innings, and Mikey Romero hit a homer off of him, 2-run homer in the 4th inning. Arrighetti was throwing 92.4 miles per hour this season. So he's averaging 90.5 in his rehab starts. Shout out to Old E in the house. Jay Peasy ready to get to work as well. Love to see it. And Professor Chris says model showing 8.27 runs total here. So he's on the over 7.5. I want the over. I wanted to focus on the first 5 over. I also wanted to focus on, backing the Yankees. And it's just extremely expensive on all fronts. Everything we're talking about here is just extremely expensive. I have every expectation that Fluharty looks good out there for a short period of time. I just think that it's Arrighetti that messes it up. Arrighetti has lost all that confidence, all that bravado. Remember, he didn't make the team out of spring training. He went down to the minors, went down to Sugarland and shoved. He looked excellent. I mean, he was phenomenal in Sugar Land. They called him up immediately. His first, 6 to 8 starts were unbelievable. He was must-back material. His hair flowing all over the place when he'd be on the mound. He looked like a bulldog. His movement was insane. RPM was insane. Like, I'd never seen him pitch with such confidence, and I'd never seen him have such incredible movement. And then it stopped. It stopped happening. He stopped. And I guess, what I'm guessing is it was the right foot. It was the neuroma that was affecting him here. TV Jones says Toronto at this price is tempting. Schlittler ain't scoring runs, and the Blue Jays offense has come to life the last week or two. That's very, very, very legitimate here. Very, very legitimate. Tommy, I know it's awful. I was dealing with it during the heavy boozing of last year's football season. So let's talk about Schlittler. 2.19 ERA, 0.94 WHIP, 2.93 expected ERA. And TV Jones makes a good point. You know, Schlittler's not scoring any runs. Can we trust this Yankees offense that's been so pitiful? And Schlittler's last start was against these Jays, and Arrighetti didn't pitch against these Yankees, obviously, because he's been on the IL. That is another reason that you know, is it worth the expense? You know, is it worth that price? It's so expensive. We're priced out of the first 5 minus a half. I mean, who would want a first 5 minus 1? I think I would prefer to focus on the overs. But let's talk a little bit more about the spot. He's not. One last thing about Schlittler is he's not devoid of the ability to have bad starts. And in fact, he's had 6 starts post All-Star break, and 2 have been bad. July 19th, 3 runs over 4 1/3 and 8-2 loss at home versus the Dodgers. And August 3rd, 4 runs over 3 innings at home versus the Cardinals. But, you know, he's a hell of a pitcher. There's no getting around that. Bullpen-wise, the Yankees bullpen 2.65 ERA, 1.21 WHIP. Jays bullpen 3.54 ERA, 1.46 WHIP. The Jays bullpen's keeping it together. I don't know how they're doing it. And I would like to stay away from these bullpens. This reminds me of the Bassett start, where I knew that I wanted to attack the starters, and I moved on the first 5 over 5, and that just pushed. All it did was push, but the full game went under. Colin Gregory says Cy Young, Cam, show off on Friday night. Yankees first 5 minus a half, smash and grab. The problem is it's very expensive. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We've had a big move towards the Blue Jays from plus 210 to plus 177. So we've had a 33-cent move towards the Blue Jays. 33-cent move towards the Blue Jays. You know that's bigger going away from the favorites. So that's 38 cents away from the Yankees. That's going to take me off of any interest. You know, fading Arrighetti. And then this total's gone from 7.5 down to a 7. You know, clearly indicating there's going to be a lack of runs being scored. That's not quite how I feel about the situation. Let's go to Penny here. Let's go to Penny and take a look at this here. We have and again, this came out very late. The Yankees are minus 208 full game. First 5, they're minus 244. Wow. That is, so the first 5 minus a half is minus 146. That is extremely expensive. King Simba ready to join us. Oh, KDV by Chef Jeff. What up, Jeff, my man? Yes, OG Lowbagger in the house. Can't Stop AC says another big move to Phillies. Maybe I just have to let it go. You know, or, and I don't usually do this. I see TJ do this from time to time. Or we bet a Phillies Yankees first 5 parlay, and we don't take the minus a half. Let's just see what that would be. It might not, even that might not be worth it at all. So Yankees here, first 5 money line. Phillies first 5 money line. That's a minus 103. Well, I mean, now we're talking. Maybe that's the way to play it. And then let's talk about this first 5 over, because that's what I would like to attack here. The first 5 over 4 is very expensive. I mean, when was... Oh, no, that's the Phillies game, of course. I was going to say, when was the last time you saw a 7 and a 4 be that expensive? Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing here. Let's get over to the Yankees then. Yankees Jays first 5 over, 3.5 minus 121. That's what I want. I don't dislike the 7, honestly. All right. Turnbuckle Tommy says he needs plus money if he's putting more than one play on a ticket. Important to have rules. I don't. First 5 over for me, and I think that Philly, New York, first 5 money line parlay is something that I will be looking at after the show. It's just so expensive to take the Phillies first 5 minus a half. It's so expensive to take the Yankees first 5 minus a half. Is that worth it here? Worth it here? Okay, let's roll on. Make it make sense in the house here. TJ says, about to head to the airport. Can't wait to see everyone tomorrow. It's going to be great. And you're going to see a bunch of guys tonight too, TJ. So it's going to be great. Yes, Tommy, first 5 over for me in the Yankees game. First 5 over 3.5 in the Yankees game. And then I'm going to decide how to use the Philadelphia Yankees on the first 5. We roll on. Next spot on the board, San Francisco Giants, Boston Red Sox, Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. I was just sickened by what I had to deal with not having a Caesars account. The first 3 under 2.5 in Giants Red Sox was sitting there for so long. Just sitting there. First 3 under 2.5 at minus 125. I couldn't get it. It was minus 145 at 365 and it was just bothering me so much here. So much. So here Turnbuckle Tommy says, so you're trusting the Yankees bats? I'm assuming, look, no, I don't trust the Yankees bats. No, I'm fading Arrighetti, and Schlittler just saw them. And if I got 3 runs from the Yankees, I assume that I cash my. So I guess I could take a first 5 team total over for the Yankees, but I Schlittler just saw these guys. So no, I'm not. It's a 3.5. How much offense do you need? How much trust do you need? Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Here, let's break this one down. We'll get into the weather here to get started. It's a run suppressing, minus 7% runs, minus 16% homers, plus 5% doubles and triples, and even for singles. And you can see just weather alone, it's very, very run suppressing. I don't know if, sorry, Tommy, it's all good. I don't know if the Jays get to Schlittler. I just think it's that we can get a run or 2 here. I think that it's not possible, and I think Arrighetti's vulnerable. And I really like the 3.5. It's just very low. And I have conviction to attack a line moving against me, which I rarely do. We have Logan Webb, 3.50 ERA, 1.06 whip, 3.63 expected ERA. Professor Chris says, model San Francisco Giants, money line plus 123, so he had to bet him at plus 158, says he hates these Giants. Well, I took him first 5 plus a half. That was something that I really liked with the low volatility in this baseball game. Webb was removed from the start on Saturday. He was rolling right along. He was through 6 innings, but he took a comebacker in the 5th inning, and he felt he had back and shoulder tightness. And for whatever reason, that concerned me more than I needed. As I looked into it, there was no concern for him. He said he felt fine afterwards. At least he felt fine in his bullpen session. Afterwards, he feels fine. I don't know why why it slowed me down. He's been pitching at a very high level. He's allowed 3 earned runs over his last 3 starts. We're talking about 20 innings. He's allowed 13 hits in those 20 innings. He has struck out 17 and walked 2. He's pitching at a very, very high level. Sonny Gray is as well. 2.65 ERA, 1.15 whip. He's got 3.59 expected ERA. I love it. I love it if it correlates with your action, Professor Chris. That's where I want to be. Saturday, August 15th, the last time we saw Sonny Gray, he didn't allow a run at the Pirates over 7 innings. Now, the Pirates aren't hitting, but, we have the similar numbers from Gray as we do from Webb the last 3 starts. We have Webb's allowed 2 earned runs over 20 innings and allowed 13 hits over his last 3 starts. Same thing for Gray. He's allowed 2 earned runs over 19 innings. He's allowed 15 hits. He has struck out 19, and he's walked 4. These are absolute monsters. Now, Turnbuckle Tommy says Giants have 66 plate appearances versus Gray with 259 average and 894 OPS. This is peak Sonny Gray. This is his best years in Oakland, Sonny Gray right now. Guy's a beast, boss on the mound. Still looks very young for being such a vet. I believe he just passed the 2,000 strikeouts. He's on that list of active strikeout leaders. I know DeGrom just got to 2,000 last night as well. And the Red Sox had 33 plate appearances versus Webb with a 333 average. He got annihilated. I have a real vividness bias of getting annihilated by the Red Sox. Was that this year? Let's go back through all of his starts here. I know that I remember him going to Boston and getting just touched up. I have to go through his splits, so I'm not going to do that right now. Solution looking at the first 5 under. Well, I decided not to be jealous of my friends and just deal with the first 3 under 2, much to my chagrin, at plus. Oh, I don't even think I got plus money. I'm going to go over my action here for a second. Let's talk about these bullpens. Red Sox bullpen, 2.53 ERA, 1.04 whip. Giants bullpen, 3.75 ERA, 1.44 whip. The Giants bullpen's been a problem at times. And then the sticks, the Giants just aren't hitting. 233, 697 OPS. This is a team that's throwing in the towel. Red Sox versus righties, 276, 810 OPS. Now you can see that the Giants are hitting harder of late. Shout out to Swiggy on the 1s and 2s, delivering these great graphics. When we get to the line history here for the spot, we have this 8. It's now a 7.5 juice to the under, and there's 7s on the board now. Wow. Now the 7s are heavily juiced to the over and plus money to the under. Let's call them 7.25s. We get to the money line here for this spot. We've had a 27-cent move towards Sonny Gray. Well, that had already happened. There had been, and it was moving as we spoke, but when we started the show last night, there had been a 23-cent move towards the Red Sox, and I usually don't bet into those types of moves. This got up to minus 186 at 8:54 in the morning, but we've had 9 cents of buyback here for the Giants, which is something I'd love to see. When we go to the price difference, first 5 and full game here. Let's get off of this. Here, over to the first 5 full game price difference for Giants Red Sox. The Red Sox are minus 175, or let's go with the Giants are plus 160 full game. First 5 plus 145. That first 5 plus a half is minus 106 here. Minus 106. Shout out to BT joining us. So this is the action I have, and it was very uncomfortable taking a first 3 under 2 at minus 108 when my friends had a 2.5 minus 125. Shout out to Mark Staszowski. This is a 2-unit play for him. First 3 under 2.5 minus 125. Excellent work. I got the minus 108 at 2, which sucks. I got the first 5 under 4 at minus 120. I think that's a fine number. Now it's minus 123. It's only moved a few cents since I bet it. And then I have the Giants first 5 plus a half at minus 104. It's moved 2 cents to minus 106. TJ boarding a plane to come up to the 6 right now, but this is his TJ special. You have low volatility. You have an ace on both sides, and you trust your pitcher to get, to keep them in the game. This is TJ special 101. So 3 bets for me in this one. First 3 under 2 minus 108. First 5 under 4 minus 120, and the Giants first 5 plus a half at minus 104. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board that's a great game. Next spot on the board for us is Nationals Miami Marlins, Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. I've wanted to bet this game so badly. I had so much fun breaking it down yesterday on the nightly bag, but Rob Free and Sharpie were like, wait, because I want the Nationals. And the idea that nobody is going to want to watch the Nationals after watching what they've been doing lately. And so I waited, and the line has not moved very much. We'll get into that here shortly. We have Brad Lord on the hill, and he's only on the hill for an inning. And he's not been very good of late. He was excellent in the first half of the year. He's not been very good of late, so I don't like it that much that he is starting out, but why not, deliver a little bit? And then we have Will Dion. Will Dion, man, a 5'10", 180-pound pitcher. You don't see many of these anymore because nobody wants to scout them. He was a 9th-round pick by the Guardians in 21 draft out of McNeese, and he was part of the Foster Griffin trade. And looking at his statistical profile, it's very clear why they've used him here. And Gerald Jones says, morning, some things we got to stop for. It says, morning, low bag fam. This is our great friend Gerald Jones. OG says, I've been going through tough times last 4 months, but he's back. Gerald Jones, we love you, man. It's great to have you back. I'm going to copy and paste this comment to reach out to you, my man. It's great to have you back in business. And the best bet is in from Gerald Jones, back in business with us. And that's A's Houston over 8. Let's get this copied and pasted right under the Swedish girlfriend play of the day. Shout out to our guy. Our guy, Gerald Jones, back in business. Professor Chris says the model loves this game, and he loves this game. Sorry, the model shows Nats minus 103, so I bet him plus 136. Shows total 8.7 runs, so he took the over 7.5. Look, I love this game. But all I want are the Washington Nationals. So let's talk about Will Dion for a little bit. Tiny kid, and his field independent metrics, all of his advanced numbers are very good, and it's because of his strikeout K to walk ratio, and he's got 2.53 Sierra, but his K to walk ratio is insane. 29.4% strikeout rate, 3.5% walk rate. You can see why the Nationals wanted him involved in this. So he has pitched in AAA Columbus, and then he got called up by the Guardians. AAA Columbus, he didn't start any games. He pitched in 21 of them. 3.62 ERA, 1.05 whip. He struck out 52 in 37 in the third and had 7 walks, and he only allowed 2 home runs in those 37 in the third. They call him up to Cleveland. He pitches out of the bullpen. He doesn't start any games. 4.58 ERA, 1.37 whip. But again, 25 strikeouts over 19 and 2/3, and he only walks 3 batters. Guy is very good. Now, he did allow 4 home runs over those 19 and 2/3, so there was a couple barrels. Then he gets traded over to the Nationals. They option him immediately, but they bring him up the next day. He's pitched in 4 games. He's yet to allow a run. His whip is 0.33, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. So if he has a 0.33 whip and he's walked 2 batters, that means he's allowed 1 hit. I think he is a beast here. I think he is an absolute beast. So I'm a little concerned about Brad Lord, and I can get past it. And our guy Gerald Jones back as a silver member. It's so great to have you back, Gerald Jones. I'll see you in the Discord, and you know where to get that invite. You just see it on your account at pubsportsradio.com. There's so many great things happening. Swiggy's just if you haven't been on pubsportsradio.com lately, go on it and see the advances that Swiggy's done on it. But if you go to your account, you'll get the invite right there. So let's talk about Ryan Gusto here. Ryan Gusto. He's pitched in 16 games, started 11. He's done whatever's asked of him. He came over in the trade with the Astros at the deadline last year, and he looked terrible in that last 6 weeks of the year. Started the year in the minors. He's pitching fine. We got to have lower expectations for him. He's had 5 starts post All-Star break, and he's pitched out of the bullpen twice post All-Star break. And these starts, he's had 2 bad ones, 2 slightly mediocre ones to slightly bad, and then 1 great one. I want to attack him. Marlins bullpen 4.77 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. Nats bullpen 3.38 ERA. And also, don't forget, can you put Gusto up for one more second there, Swiggy? You'll see with Ryan Gusto that there's that he is worse at home than on the road for some reason, which is tricky. But so when we get to the bullpens, Marlins bullpen is a problem. Nats bullpen's pitching very well. 3.38 ERA, 1.22 WHIP. When it comes to the sticks, the Marlins are going to face righties and lefties today. They're not hitting lefties at all, and that's Dion. I wish they just gave Dion the start here, honestly. They're hitting 236 with 644 OPS versus lefties. Marlins versus righties, 245, 723 OPS. Nats versus righties, 254, 753 OPS, but, we've seen them not hitting. So let's get into the line history here for the Nats Marlins spot. We have a 3-cent move to the Marlins. It's not really moving, but it did move 3 cents at 9:04 a.m. I'm just waiting, expecting it to move further. Maybe I don't need to wait much longer. But we get to the total for the spot. Here we have an 8.5 going all the way down to a 7.5. Good God. What a massive move to the under. Massive move to the under. And then when we get to the price difference here, first 5 in full game, we have the Nats plus 132. So it's moved a cent since the show started. It was plus 133, plus 132. And then first 5 plus 115. And the first 5 plus a half minus 125. His airness is, I don't know about Lord. Well, I don't think we need to worry too much about while he's in there, but clearly he's having a bad second half of the year compared to a great first half of the year. When we get to the cash flow for the spot, 59 and 69 on the Marlins here, and 76% of the tickets, it was 79, now it's 76 and 95% cash on the over, and yet it keeps dropping. So I'm in business here. I don't think I need to wait much longer. It just doesn't appear that it's going to be moving too much. So it's going to be Washington first 5 plus a half for me, and then Washington full game for me. backing the Nats. Let's move on. 7:15 p.m. Eastern with the Tampa Bay Rays of the Baltimore Orioles. We're at Oriole Park in Camden Yards, Baltimore, Maryland. Orioles are a 500 team at home. Rays are 5 games over 500 on the road, 26 games over 500 overall. We have plus 3% runs, minus 5% homers, plus 11% doubles and triples, and plus 2% singles. We have these two spots here. We have the Peralta versus Rogers. They just went against each other last start. And then we're going to have the Mackenzie Gore, Reed Detmer start. And they've had one start in between, but they'll be seeing each other for the second time over 3 starts. And very interesting spots here. So let's talk about Mr. Peralta here. He doesn't look good. 5.27 ERA, 1.48 WHIP. He's got a 4.10 expected ERA. He's not looked good. The Rays acquired him from the Mets for Aiden Smith, Emilian Petre, and Gary Gill-Hill. He's had 3 starts with the Brewers, and the first 2 were real difficult situations. That first start, we faded him at the Rockies. It was very offensive weather. He got touched up. Now, of course, it's the Rays, like the Brewers, they're just so professional, and they keep attacking you, and they're always kind of still in the game. So first start, 7 earned runs over 3 2/3, 9-7 extra inning win at the Rockies. Second start was also a difficult situation. It was Sutter Health Park. 10-6 win at the Athletics. He went for 3 earned runs. He allowed 3 earned runs over 6 innings. And then this last start was a little better, and it was at home versus these Orioles. Now, they lost 10-2. He didn't help. He only went 4 2/3, but he only allowed 1 hit. He just walked 3 batters. But he allowed 2 earned runs, and he had just 2 strikeouts. Never use looking at thinking of the over, and I get it. You know, they just saw the pitchers, and that's difficult. And in that situation, I just felt like the way Peralta's pitching right now, that Trevor Rogers has more to offer. He just has more to offer first 5. And I believe in him way, way more. He's pitching at a much higher level. Now, he's not the 2025 version that was, 1.81 ERA, 0.9 something WHIP. But he's pitching very well right now. Last start, 6 innings, 2 earned runs at the Rays. Now he gets to pitch at home. And he's very, very trustworthy right now. His home numbers are slightly worse than his road numbers. But again, I don't put too much into that. He's allowed 2 earned runs in each of his last 3 starts. Maybe that should have been better at home versus the Angels. At the Twins, he didn't go deep enough into the game. I can understand the profile not being that good. The 2 starts after the All-Star break, he was excellent. But now that's July 18th and July 24th, and we're August 21st. So I think I don't know how relevant they are. Orioles bullpen, 4.21 ERA, 1.33 WHIP. Rays bullpen, 3.87 ERA, 1.11 WHIP. And then when it comes to the sticks, the Rays are not hitting lefties. 259, 682 OPS. And the Orioles are not hitting righties. 219, 676 OPS over the last 30 days. So let's take a look here. Oh, excuse me. Let's take a look here at the situation. I almost never sneeze on these shows. It's such a weird thing to do that. Line-wise, we have a full run move towards the under from 8.5 to 7.5. And then when we get to the money line here in this situation, we've had this 14-cent move towards the Baltimore Orioles from minus 112 to minus 126. Again, I don't want anything really to do with the Orioles bullpen. They've been a little worse for wear over the last little while. When we get to the cash flow here, and I want to talk about the price difference as well. But when we get to the cash flow here for this tilt, 55% of the tickets are on the Rays. So it's gone down a little bit in the last 50 minutes. It was 60 and 73 on the Orioles. So it's gone down quite a lot. Wow. So now it's just 45%. I didn't realize that. So now it's just 45% of the tickets on the Orioles, but still 73% of the cash. That's not changed. And then for the total, it's moved quite a bit. Look at, so the over had 45 and 47. Look at the over now, 69 and 71. Circa still hanging in 8, but a lot of books hanging in the 7.5. Have they? And they opened this up at 8.5, moved it to 8. So for never use, look, I'm uncomfortable. And shout out to Robert Cherry in the house. I do have my coffee. And there's Kelly McInnes ready to go. Great to see you, Kelly. Never use. I don't like going up against market moves in totals. I don't. And I won't unless I have enormous conviction, which I do. I believe in that Jays Yankees first 5 over. But I don't do it. So you have to ask yourself, this line is moving against me. Do I have the conviction to say, that's wrong, the books are wrong, I'm going to milk this? I'm going to get this money on this better line. If you have that conviction, go forth. If you're questioning it, I wouldn't go up against line moves like this. But I do want the first 5 on the Orioles, and I bet it. I got the Orioles first 5. It was very expensive, minus 133. Let's see what it is right now here. We'll do a price difference for these Baltimore Orioles. They're minus 120 full game. First 5 minus 137, 17-cent difference. There's a lot here. There is a lot here that appeals to me, backing Trevor Rogers, and that's what I've done. Baltimore first 5 money line, kept it simple. Now it's getting more expensive. It passed that minus 135 threshold, which I know would make it uncomfortable here. And with the total dropping, I didn't want the minus a half. And we roll on. Next spot on the board here, New York Mets at the Chicago White Sox. We're at Rate Field, Chicago, Illinois. This was another spot I was angry how expensive the first 3 under was at 365. Extremely angry about it. But it didn't stop me. I moved on 3 bets in this game, and I'm really excited about this game. I'm not the only one excited about this game because we have the pig milk play of the day in this game as well. Pig milk from Billy Friedrich is the White Sox first 5 minus a half at minus 108. Sean Burke in a nice bounce back spot. Pig milk in the house. Friday pig milk. Weekend pig milk. Weekend pig milk here. I think Burke is in a great spot as well. Sean Manaea, old man Manaea, does concern me a little bit. He does concern me a little bit, but it didn't stop me from firing 3 bets in this game. Again, first 3 under 2 at plus 102. Good God. When I can get an 8 at 365, I got the 8 at minus 105. That was 10 cents off market. Pinnacle had it minus 114. The other books had it even more expensive. And yet the first 3 was so expensive that I couldn't make a bet a 2.5. I really took that as an implication that there won't be a lot of runs early in this game. Professor Chris says, hate being opposite you guys, but he's on the Mets here. Model had them plus 108, so he bet them at plus 131. Look, I can understand that. I can clearly understand that. And I'm on the first 5 minus a half with Billy. I got the first 5 minus a half at plus 102. It was very expensive on the money line, too expensive. And I love the ability of the White Sox hitting lefties of late. This is something that's starting to happen again. So let's break this down. We're at Rate Field in Chicago, Illinois here. Weather-wise at Rate Field, we have some weather concerns. Plus 3% runs, plus 1% homers, minus 1% doubles and triples, and plus 3% singles here. TV Jones says low-key like the White Sox on the run line here. Says White Sox bullpen good to go. Offense better at home, and they just laid an egg at home for Grant Holmes. Burke off a bad game too. Mets offense being solid. So that is his hesitation. Manaea 4-5, 4.22 ERA, 1.32 whips. Got a 4.53 expected ERA. His last start at home versus the Nats wasn't very good. 4 earned runs over 6 1/3. That put a stop to a really great run for him. He had a bad start in his first start after the All-Star break, July 18th, 4 runs over 4 2/3 at the Phillies, but then 4 very good starts in a row where he allowed a combined 6 earned runs. So that's a concern. Look, I'm not going to tell you that Manaea isn't a concern, but I got past it. I back Manaea all the time. You guys watch me back Manaea all the time, and I got past my concern, not thinking that he's going to get lit up here, but I really like the White Sox first lefties here. Mr. Heat's laddering Burke's K's. Let's get into Sean Burke here. 3.15 ERA, 1.11 whips. Got a 3.59 expected ERA. He's been a monster. A monster. And then he has a bad start that seemingly came out of nowhere. If you look at these last few starts, they're spectacular. His last 6 starts before this, he had allowed 6 earned runs. Last 7, he allowed 7 earned runs. Last 8, he'd allowed 9 earned runs. The guy's an absolute monster. If you look at his last 10 starts before this, he allowed 11 earned runs. That's dating back to mid-June. He's a very, very good pitcher. And he's coming off a bad start at the Tigers, what better place to regroup and smash than at home? Now, I know you can see in the statistical profile that his numbers at home are worse than his numbers on the road. I don't put too much emphasis into that. He's been shoving at home of late, absolutely shoving at home. So his worst start of the year, he allowed 6 earned runs over 4 1/3, was at home on May 8th for some Mariners. No, I don't care. It's another bad when he started this great run after a start June 13th at home versus the Dodgers, where he allowed 4 earned runs over 4 innings. So White Sox bullpen 3.45 ERA, 1.24 WHIP. Mets bullpen 2.36 ERA, 1.09 WHIP. Both bullpens are very trustworthy. I couldn't understand why it was so expensive on the first week. I'm almost afraid to look. When it comes to the sticks, the White Sox are hitting lefties now. We were ahead of the curve on this. They're hitting lefties hard again. They should be backed against all lefties. 248, 773 OPS. Mets versus righties, 243, 718 OPS. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have a move towards Manaea, 6 cents of movement towards Manaea. That had happened already. This is what we were dealing with here. Now, there was a little bit of difference because there had been a slight buyback. There had been 5 cents of buyback right before our show started, so maybe that gave me a little bit of added confidence. But I'd seen this move already, and the White Sox are not, are coming off a game where they got goose-egged, so I can understand why, the line's not really moving towards them. Their offense might be a little untrustworthy. This 8 opened up minus 103 to the under. It's minus 115 to the under now. It was minus 120 to the under before our show started. There had been a 17-cent move towards the under. And I told you that minus 105 was sitting there for a long period of time. And then we have huge dollars on the over. Huge dollars on the over, and the books don't seem to care at all that the numbers are on. So we have heavily juiced. Some books are hanging 7.5s even. We have heavily juiced under 8. So, and then we have 76% of the tickets right now and 64% of the cash on the White Sox. So I'm pretty comfortable here in this spot. There's LJ from H-Town in the house. Our guy LJ, man. So let's take a look at the price difference here and just go over everything. And I want to just touch on the first 3 and then we'll move past it. But we have the White Sox at minus 141 full game. First 5 minus 141. So they're not implying that it's this minus a half of Pinnacle, minus a half of Pinnacle first 5, still plus 102. So there's been no movement there. I'm not going to let that concern me here, at all. So there you go. I feel like we're in business. 3 bets for me. I am nervous about checking this first 3 lines, so let's just check it out, and I hope I'm not extremely angry with this here. We have Manaea Burke. It's now minus 115 to the under, so it's moved 10 cents to the under. This better be ridiculously expensive. Minus 140, which means it's moved towards the over slightly. Yuck. I don't like that, but I'm in business here. I'm in business. Let's roll on. Athletics Astros. We're at Daikin Park in Houston, Texas here. Gerald Jones, we have several announcements. We have major, massive announcements on Monday morning. Morning bag, Monday morning. We're going to be announcing everything. We'll be making announcements throughout the week. So stay tuned for a lot where the schedule changes. Huge, all questions will be answered here for you guys and for everybody for next week. Athletics 49 and 78, 26 and 38 on the road at the Astros, 64 and 63, 32 and 32 at home. We are at Daikin Park in Houston, Texas here for this one. And I wanted unders, but I almost bet both, first 3 under and first 5 under. But I said on the show that I didn't want to double down on unders. And so I had to remind myself of that, and I decided to only bet 1. Now, if the line's moved in my favor or agrees with me here, maybe I'll move on more. I did get some conjecture from our guy Mark Staszowski on Wesneski. And I'm not a Wesneski fan, but this is, in my estimation, the weakest lineup in Major League Baseball. With Bangaliers, Rooker, Kurtz all out, amongst others. This Athletics lineup is the weakest lineup in Major League Baseball. They're horrible. Absolutely horrible. So I don't see why Wesneski wouldn't have a good start against them. And then we have JT Ginn on the other hand, 3.53 ERA, 1.22 whip, 3.97 expected ERA. We discussed last night on the Nightly Bag the two pitchers that are coming off blister issues, Ginn and Lodolo. Lodolo had to actually change the grip on his curveball to stop his reoccurring blister issues. You know, not we don't know why Ginn had, it doesn't he got it after the All-Star break, his first start coming out of the All-Star break, which was a great start. It didn't allow an earned run, allowed one hit over 6 1/3 at home versus the Nats, but then he went on the shelf because of the blister. He doesn't come back till August 4th. He allows 3 earned runs over 6 innings at the Reds, and then he follows that up with a beautiful start at Boston, 1 earned run over 6 innings. Then last start, he allowed 4 earned runs over 6 innings at home versus the Rangers. Extremely offensive conditions. I don't, that 4 earned runs over 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, 0 walks. I mean, that is a Sutter Health Park quality start. I know it doesn't count as one, but it feels like it. Hayden Wesneski on the other side here, 2-1, 5.16 ERA, 1.32 whips, got a 4.46 expected ERA. 6th round pick of the Yankees back in 2019, and he had the Tommy John surgery in May of 2025. He looked really good in his rehab starts. We faded him in his first start here. He went up against Grayson Rodriguez, and we took the Angels first 3 and first 5. We cashed both of those, and then, of course, the Angels played terribly in the late second half of the game and lost. And we have Hayden Wesneski coming off a bad start. A really bad start at home versus the Mariners. And he had looked really good coming out. Even in that start where we faded him, he only allowed 3 earned runs over 5 2/3. He followed that up with a quality start at home versus the Jays, 2 earned runs over 6. And then he had another quality start at the Giants, 3 earned runs over 7. So, yeah, he had a bad start at home. But what better tonic after a bad start than going up against the hapless Athletics? I mean, it's perfect. So, bullpen-wise, Astros bullpen 2.65 ERA, 1.03 whip. A's bullpen 6.71 ERA, 1.67 whip. A's bullpen being horrible all year long. Nothing has changed. Now, the Astros bullpen's moving in the wrong direction, but they've been really good for a long time. And then for the sticks, the A's numbers are going to just drop and drop and drop. I know it doesn't show that here over the last 5 games, but this offense is so bad. So we have the A's versus righties 244, 709 OPS over the last 30 days. Astros 254, 753 OPS. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have an 8.5 minus 125 to the unders, now an 8 minus 105 to the under. So we've had to move towards the under. On the money line here for this spot, we have just a 2-cent move to the Astros, very little. We take a look at the price difference, first 5 full game here in this Astros spot. We have the Astros let's go with the other side. We have the A's at plus 161, first 5 plus 142. Look, I would bet them first 5 plus a half. I like Ginn. I think he's the better pitcher on the mound. The problem with doing that is you're going to need the A's to score a run, and I'm not going to sit here and hope that they deliver offense for me when they're just so horrible. When we get to the cash flow for this spot, we have 67%. We have 80% of the tickets on Houston and 94% of the cash. Wow, that hasn't changed in the hour since we made these graphics. And then on the over, 72 and 87, and that's now 77 and 87 on the over. I like that. I don't mind going up against that at all. And the bookie, you cashed already. Nice job with the Angels last night. Nice job, buddy. I thought that was for today. Great job, DC. Okay, so let's just take a look here at the price difference and what we are dealing with in this A's Astros spot. Because I want to just look at the first 5 here. The first 5 under 4.5 is minus 116. I don't know if I don't know if I need to do anything other than what I've done. Let's just see this first 3 under 2.5. If this has changed at all. I got the first 3 under 2.5 at a flat pick'em. Simple, minus 120 each way. And right now, this first 3 under, here we go. The first 3 under is sitting at a pick'em. I'm not going to double down here. Okay. Let's roll on here. And Turnbuckle Tommy says White Sox are 25-6 to the over 8 in Game 1 of a series going back to May 1st. That's wild. That's not what I want to see. All right, and Make It Make Sense says you're right about bias with certain spots. A's can't really hit, but I want to back them. I can't get yesterday out of my head. Yeah, I hear you. Make It Make Sense. I'm right with you. You just can't trust them to score. I honestly think that the A's are a fade for the rest of the season. Now, I think there's a reason to kind of like in and question Wesneski. But I'm going to take the first 2.5 and move on. And let's move on. 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Tigers 61-66, 29-35 on the road at the Kansas City Royals 54-74, 32-30 at home at Kauffman Stadium. Kansas City, Missouri, plus 4% runs, plus 12% homers, plus 4% doubles and triples, and plus 1% singles. Sick from the fall, like in the Tigers in this spot. Well, we have received Turnbuckle Tommy's easy cash play of the day, and it is also the Detroit Tigers. There is our guy, Nordy, in the house. Is really wishing I could attend tonight. Having an amazing time with Morency and Bobano. We will, Nordy, and we will cheers to you, my friend. Hope all's well in Edmonton, and wish you were there too. My guy, we're going to get a chance. It will happen. It will happen for us. No doubt about that. Let's get back here to the action at hand. And I thought, without a shadow of a doubt, I would be on the under in this, Troy Melton going up against Noah Cameron. I was just certain of it. So the fact that this moved from 8 to 8.5 was absolutely wild. And it just stopped me in my tracks. So let's take another look at it all. We have Troy Melton on the hill, who's an absolute beast. 7-1, 1.71 ERA. He's been playing very, very good. Last start, August 15th, he allowed 3 earned runs over 4 1/3, but we hadn't seen him get touched in a long, long time like that. He'd just been pitching at such an elite level. The 3 starts previous to that, he'd allowed 0 earned runs. He had gone 20 innings and allowed 10 hits. So he got touched up at home versus the White Sox, which was, it's a bit of a surprise. White Sox are starting to hit. I know we got no example of that yesterday, but they're starting to hit, and they're starting to hit good pitchers. And Melton is a very good pitcher. So I think that Melton's more than capable of bouncing back. We have Noah Cameron on the other side, 4.16 ERA, 1.22 whip score, 4.17 expected ERA. We nailed the being ahead of the curve on Noah Cameron, which I'm very proud of. It was excellent, excellent work. And now he's a monster. I didn't cap that game he had on Sunday, and he had a one-hitter through a complete game 9. And Turnbuckle Tommy had been talking about, coming off his most profitable spot this season is fading pitchers coming off complete games. The thing that hurt me here on this one is here. The thing that hurt me was this issue with, and this, he threw 115 pitches in that complete game, but he's throwing 100 plus in 3 straight starts. I mean, I don't see, I didn't get too concerned here. Creek Man in the house, he's on the first 5 under 4.5. He throws over 100 pitches most of the time, at least of late. So 115 pitches, I'm not sure. I didn't think it was really a bad thing. Honestly, I mean, it is right at the line. I mean, we've seen Cease throw 118, 120 and followed up with decent starts. TV Jones also is on Tigers' money line, fading Cameron off a complete game. Rested bullpen behind Melton, and the Royals needed to get to the A's bullpen to win game 2. No thanks, Tigers up. And Turnbuckle Tommy says that's serious arm fatigue. Maybe the buildup of it all. When a pitcher is like Cameron is like Cease, that they're pitching over 100 pitches each game. I just didn't find it extreme, and I get your angle for sure, Tommy. But if he was throwing 86 pitches, 91 pitches, 115, then you'd see the difference. But the angle that you have is crushing for you. And it wouldn't surprise me if it does it again. We've had a 3-cent move towards Noah Cameron from plus 107 to plus 104. Royals bullpen 4.50 ERA, 1.42 whips being a problem. Tigers bullpen's being good, 3.63 ERA, 1.23 whip. And the sticks, Royals versus righties, they're not hitting 234, 679 OPS, but they're hitting harder than the Tigers versus lefties, 230, 658 OPS. So I wanted to be in on this total. I still did, despite Cameron throwing 115 pitches last out. There's been a 17-cent move to the over, so it's come back from the 8.5. This got up to minus 130 to the over. So we've had 11. So the under 8 was plus 10. Now it's minus 101. Then when we get to the cash flow here for this spot, we have 63% of the tickets and 88% of the cash on Detroit, 55 on the under and 55% of the tickets and 85% of cash on the under. Kent Davies No, you never need to apologize to us, man. We got you unconditionally, Mr. Davies. Great to see you, buddy. So I think that move to the over is, legit, and I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm not messing with this game. I'm just gonna leave this game off. We have at penny the Royals are plus 101. First five minus 103. The Tigers are minus 109 full game. First five minus 112. I'm off. I'm off of the spot here, so I will be cheering you guys on, you Tiger backers on. I'll go out there and get that cash, and we roll on. The next spot on the board, I thought that I would have moved on already, but I want to talk it out because I'll need some conviction to go up against this. We have Angels Rangers here. We're at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. We talked about the Peralta spot, where the Peralta Rogers, they just faced each other last week. Here, these guys just faced each other 10 days ago. And there's a big difference here with Reed Detmer's first five full game, and I don't agree with it. And I just need to figure out, do I have enough conviction here to follow through with the cash and invest in it? Rangers are 33 and 28 at home. Angels 22 and 41 on the road, coming off a big win. Reed Detmers is a hell of a pitcher, and when we were breaking him down earlier in the year, his numbers between home and he had slightly better numbers on the road than he did at home, and it made no sense whatsoever. He had a couple bad home starts to start the year. His only bad starts of the year were at home. It didn't make any sense. So the whole idea was that, look, we're going to hammer Reed Detmers in his home starts, and that was just paying out. That was working. When Walbert Urena pitched against the Rangers, he'd only thrown 2 1/3 innings on the road since the All-Star break. The Angels have had a ton of home games here, and the starting pitchers have just been in a rhythm and pitching very, very well. Well, the same thing with Detmers. I saved a lot of money. Now, I could have flipped as well and made money, but I saved a lot of money not hammering Urena the way we usually do. Those are usually 4-unit bets in Urena starts, where we take the first 3 and first 5 under, because we know the Angels can't hit, and whomever is starting against them is going to be able to shut them down. And then we take the Angels first 3 and the Angels first 5 plus a half, because we know Urena is going to shut down the opposition. That's been crushing. All those bets would have lost in that last start of Urena's, and I don't see why that same thing wouldn't happen here. I really don't. I think that it could easily just, now look at Detmer's profile. Look what he's been doing. He's been pitching excellent. At home versus the Royals on Saturday, he doesn't allow a run over 8 innings, and he strikes out 11. Then at home versus these Rangers here, 1 earned run over 6 innings. Looks excellent. But he did walk 4 batters. This is the 4th time he's seen the Rangers this year. And then he has his 1 road start, August 5th. 1 road start. And he makes it through 4 innings. Allows 2 home runs. Allows 3 earned runs. Then we have home. And the road start before that was the last road start of before the All-Star break. His last start before the All-Star break was here at Arlington, and he got tagged. He got tagged here for 5 earned runs over 4 innings. So I have the conviction. But McKenzie could screw this all up. He could screw this all up. Last time we saw Mackenzie Gore was at the Athletics Center Health Park. He pitched fine. 3 earned runs over 5 2/3. The start before that was against these Angels, and it wasn't on him. He went and shut down the Angels. 1 earned run over 5 1/3, struck out 9 and walked 2. The start before that at home, he doesn't allow a run over 6 innings. Look at his splits on the board there. I mean, he's pitching very well at home. He's struggling on the road. LJ from H-Town says Angels are 5 of 18 straight up last 23 games, first game of the series, and the Rangers are 12 and 2 to the under last 14. So let's get into the bullpens here. Rangers bullpen 4.85 ERA, 1.50 WHIP. Angels bullpen very good, 3.28 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. I'm shocked that I'm saying it's a very good bullpen, but they have an advantage. And then when it comes to the sticks, the Angels don't hit lefties. Well, they don't hit righties, but they don't hit lefties. 226.03 OPS. The Rangers versus lefties, and you can see the trajectory is moving in the wrong department. But over the last 30 days, it's still okay. 244.704 OPS. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have a 7.5, and there's been a 15-cent move to the under. And it's very low. And I don't really want it. I mean, I don't dislike anybody who's on it, but I don't really want it. And then we have Mackenzie Gore sitting here at minus 140, which is really expensive. This line has not moved a cent. It's been sitting here at minus 140, just sitting there. Let's take a look at the. Let's take a look here at the cash flow. If this line's sitting here not moving, you have 67 and 67 on Texas. That's a a bit of a concern here. That's a bit of a concern. But all I want to do here is I want to attack Detmers, who's been in his comfort zone at home for so long. But this line's moving towards him on the first 5. So the cash flow does nothing to help me. And then when we get into the price difference here, this is the price difference for first 5 and full game. And we can decide how we want to handle it. Where is it? Oh, here we go. The Angels are plus 127 full game. First 5 plus 112. But what's happening here is with this move towards Detmer's first 5, or the perceived advantage here on the first 5, is that I can now move on the Rangers first 5 money line and not take them first 5 minus a half. And that's what I'm going to do. So this is going to be an addition, because I had Rangers first 5 minus a half on question mark, and then I said wait, so because there was a 10-cent difference towards the Angels. Now there's a 15-cent difference. But I believe I have the conviction to go up against this line move, and I'm going to do just that. And I don't need to bet the minus a half now because I waited. So there we go. I'm going to fade Reed Detmers, whom I love and want to back every time he's at home. We move on. Next spot on the board, 8:40 p.m. Eastern, the Cleveland Guardians, 61 and 66, 31 and 32 on the road at the Colorado Rockies here, 50 and 77, 27 and 35 at home. Trout is in the expected lineup, so that we think that he'll be there, but we don't. We'll have to wait for some confirmations. And if anybody has any insight in that, please let us know about Trout. Joey Cantillo, 9 and 7, 3.80 ERA, 1.44 WHIP for the Hawaiian native, 3.88 expected ERA. We have a Cantillo, an extreme. You just saw the graphics for the weather. Extreme offensive weather. Even more offensive than usual here. Oh, it's come down. Look at that. Wow, it's come down. So it's gone from. Okay, thank you for putting that back up. Sorry, it was plus 39% runs last night. Now it's plus 32. So we have definitely come down here. So we have Cantillo, his last start, 6 innings, 1 earned run at home versus Padres. It was excellent. His prior start to that, he was getting touched up early, and that was at the White Sox over an inning, and then there was a 2-hour rain delay, and he didn't come back out. So it was probably nice that his arm got a little bit of a rest, and then he shoved at home versus the Padres. I think that he's a pitcher that you can trust, an accountable pitcher, Joey Cantillo. He didn't look very good coming out of the All-Star break. He had 2 starts that were ugly, but then, he seemingly got himself together. He's allowed 3 earned runs over his last 3 earned runs over his last 3 starts, and that's not including that rain delayed start. Now, historically, you want to back Joey Cantillo at home and not on the road here. So let's talk about Tanner Gordon. Tanner Gordon, 0-3, 5.55 ERA, 1.44 WHIPs, got a 4.84 expected ERA. He last started the game on July 10th. And it was really good. It was against the Giants. 5 innings, allowed 1 run, and then he moved into a long relief role. And for his splits, they're hilarious. Now, he's pitched 71 and a third. So to have the most extreme splits in Major League Baseball is something that we should keep an eye on. His ERA at home's 9.69, on the road is 1.80. I mean, it's that's the plan, DeJuan, my man. Respect. So. Tanner Gordon is pitching pretty well, better than we've seen him pitch for some time, and the market is seemingly respecting him. Rockies bullpen 4.47 ERA, 1.49 WHIP. Guardians 4.60 ERA, 1.46 WHIP. The Guardians bullpen has looked better of late, and we've been waiting for this to happen. It's now starting to happen. Rockies versus lefties 242, 694 OPS. It's amazing how little power they have despite playing in such offensive weather so often. And then when we have the Guardians versus righties, 242, 685 OPS here. 242, 685 OPS. So let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have a really cheap price for the Guardians. Now, it's tricky. The minus 138 is probably the right opening line, just judging by this Guardians team being 5 games under 500 and a game under 500 at home. Yes, the Rockies are 27 games under 500, but they're only 8 games under 500 at home. I can understand the implied probability, but when the books put out a line, Guardians versus Rockies, and the Guardians are minus 138, it appears to me like they're opening up their arms and knowing that they're going to get nonstop Guardians cash. The line moves from minus 138 to minus 152. The thing about all of this is that there was no move. And this moved. So this initially moved after about 45 minutes, 12 cents towards the Guardians. Then it came back, 10 cents of buyback. And then there was another 12-cent move towards Guardians. And then it's not moved since 4 p.m. Not at all. So no movement since 4 p.m. And then the total told a story for us last night as well. And that is that this is now down to a 10.5. Holy wow. Wow. A 10.5. Make It Make Sense says, you think Gordon can give us 9 outs at home? I can't. A Nasty Nate in the house. Let's get that for you, man. I have not been helping much. I know that you moved with me on that first 3 under 2.5. We were an out away to start the day. Don't like that. I'm not helping. But the issue here is that, I can't. Tanner Gordon's pitching better. The books are respecting Tanner Gordon. This is a very low total for a very offensive day. We saw it happening last night. I could be sitting here on the under 11 and feeling good about myself. The Rockies are plus 136 full game. First 5, they're plus 122. So here, I'll tell you this, make it make sense. The market is telling us that, yes, you can get 9 outs from Tanner Gordon. But his statistical profile and what he's doing, I can't vouch for him. So I respect all of this move. I don't want. So I'm off of the game. Let's just leave it at that. I'm not moving on Guardians. I have a ton of action today. I'm not moving on Guardians Rockies. We move on. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Next spot on the board: Cincinnati Reds, 61 and 66. And Sandy Brammer moving on the under 11 there. I get it. 61 and 66, 29 and 31 on the road. At the Arizona Diamondbacks, 67 and 61, 36 and 27 at home, Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Make it make sense to think about it for a little bit longer. This would be a move based solely on the market, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, and I'm sorry I didn't talk about the cash flow, but it's 83 and 86 on the Guardians and 63 and 93 on the over. I mean, we could easily. Oh God! I mean, we could. How is this an under? There's obviously, even going down to 10.5, there's still a lot of volatility involved. Clearly, they're telling us that this game's going to go under. Okay, how about this? I'm going to look at it a little bit longer after the show. I mean, it's just too blatant. It's all just too blatant. All this money on the over and then moving towards the under, the idea that Tanner Gordon would shove here. I mean, the books are putting this on the silver platter for us. All right. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board, Reds, Diamondbacks. We're at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Badu in the house. Great to see you, man. Great to see you. Nice to have you back in business, man. Let's roll here. We have an interesting pitching matchup with Nick Lodolo against Eduardo Rodriguez. We have Nick Lodolo still figuring out his way through the blisters. And he has a modified grip on his curveball now. And that first start, we faded him early, and it was great. He allowed 4 runs over 4 innings. He looked very, very good. Then we have Sunday, August 16th. He bounces back at home versus the Marlins with a nice start. Now, the Marlins aren't hitting lefties. So the question is he comfortable now and past the reoccurring blister issues? I mean, we need an inside man. And he could easily be... basically, what I'm saying is Lodolo is being bad this year. But we remember Lodolo from last year. He can be quite good. Shout out to Professor Chris. It was great having you rocking with us, man. So... Eduardo Rodriguez, on the other hand, 12 and 4, 2.71 ERA, 1.21 WHIP. We have a 4.71 expected ERA for Eduardo Rodriguez. He's been excellent, absolutely excellent. And Turnbuckle Tommy using the last 3 starts with Lodolo, and it's solid. It's solid. question everything with him right now just because of the blisters. Eduardo Rodriguez, I don't question at all. He had that horrible start coming after the All-Star break, and he has been absolutely shoving. He's been pitching very well. He also had a bad start at home versus the Padres on August 4th, so it's not being perfect. But the last two starts, quality starts. He goes 13 combined at home versus the Dodgers and at the Braves. Two tough lineups, 13 innings, 10 hits, 4 earned runs, allowed 1 home run, struck out 14 and walked 2. And then we have the opportunity to attack the Reds, who aren't hitting lefties whatsoever. So Eduardo Rodriguez is pitching at a high level. I am a little concerned at what Lodolo is capable of doing here. And he is the issue. Diamondbacks bullpen 4.97 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. Reds bullpen 4.25 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. The big differences, and I know that the Ketel Marte saga is sort of hanging over the Diamondbacks right now, and I wish Ronnie Lofton was here in the chat to tell us his thoughts, and he's the Diamondbacks whisperer. But here, the Diamondbacks are hitting 283 with an 827 OPS versus lefties. They're destroying them, despite the Ketel Marte not being in the lineup, who's phenomenal. And Reds versus lefties, 211, 601 OPS. We can expose them. And I know these numbers have dropped, without Ketel in the lineup, but we can expose the Reds' inability to hit lefties and the Diamondbacks raking them. And then I think we have an advantage on the mound. Now, Lodolo can hurt us here. I moved on the first 5 minus a half on the Arizona Diamondbacks. I need real. Oh, no, I didn't need the first 5 minus a half. Sorry. I moved on the first 5 minus 135, of course. Of course. Because I started getting really scared about Lodolo. So I got the minus 135 on the first 5. I'd like to see what that is here. Let's go over the full the history of this line. This is an 8.5 minus 120 to the under. It's not moving a cent. Not moving a cent. When you see lines that aren't moving and a huge amount of the public on one side of it, it's a real appealing betting opportunity. And then we have 13 cents of move. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. We have 2 cents of movement to Eduardo Rodriguez from minus 140 to minus 142. Let's get into the money, the price difference, first 5 in full game. We have the Diamondbacks minus 143 full game. First 5 minus 140. I'm comfortable with all of this. Yes, it's expensive, but if I do fear Lodolo, then now I don't need to be up. Now I can put that push in play. Let's roll on. We roll on 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Our next spot on the board, Minnesota Twins at the San Diego Padres. We are at Petco Park in San Diego, California. And we have been waiting for Joe Musgrove to be listed, and he's not listed. Oh, nice. So Arizona money line, first 5 for TJ as well. And Jay Peasy on the Diamondbacks run line. I love all of that. So we were hoping it would be Joe Musgrove. It's not. It is Randy Vasquez on the hill. Musgrove is returning here soon. Petco Park minus 6% runs, plus 6% homers, minus 19% doubles and triples, and minus 4% singles. We have Connor Prelip on the hill, 3-6, 5.34 ERA, 1.38 WHIP, 4.27 expected ERA. He just got annihilated for 8 earned runs over 5 innings. Now, he's more than capable of bouncing back here at Petco, but his issue is that he's never pitched this many innings professionally in his life, and he's gone through 2 Tommy John surgeries. They're going to be nervous every time he goes out on the mound. His last 3 starts have not been good. He's not in any kind of rhythm. He doesn't know when he's going to go because they're trying to push back his starts so that he keep his inning count down. Prelip right now has thrown 87 2/3. The most he'd ever thrown was 83 2/3. So they're worried about him. And in his last 3 starts, he's gone 15 1/3. He's allowed 17 hits, 14 earned runs, 4 homers. He struck out 18. That's great, but he's walked 10. Going up against Randy Vasquez, 4.30 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. Got a 5.84 expected ERA. Post All-Star break, he was the primary twice, and he started twice. The 2 times he's been a primary, well, the last start was not very good. It was at the Guardians. It was a primary situation. It was not very good. A nuke worker, cannot wait. I'm going to do my very best to not be too hungover when I see you tomorrow. But if I am, nothing to worry about. I'll drink my way through it. Turnbuckle Tommy says he's showing Musgroves on some site. Yeah, we thought it might be Musgrove as well, but Vasquez is listed in the books now. I don't have anywhere. I don't have anything. Everything for me says Vasquez now. but we thought it might be Musgrove. Now you can list pitchers with Vasquez as well. All the books that I have in front of me have Vasquez and Vasquez props. So the last 2 starts that he's actually started, August 9th at home versus the Astros, 2 earned runs over 5 innings. And then at the Diamondbacks, no earned runs over 6 innings. I think that Vasquez is more than capable of pitching well here. One of the things about these older, soft-tossing, possible gas cans is that the market really is indicative of when they're going to pitch well. So, and Billy Friedrich is not afraid of Lodolo. Diamondbacks first 5 in full game. I love to hear it. When we get to the bullpens, Padres bullpen 3.26 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. And yeah, it looks like he's not going now, TV Jones. We all want to see him badly. I was hoping it was him. He's going to get a start this weekend, we've been told. Twins bullpen 3.57 ERA, 1.40 WHIP. TJ looking for the San Diego Padres team total. Let's grab this team total here for our guy TJ on the road to the airport to come to Toronto to party with us. The team total for the Padres at Penny is over 4.5 at plus 118, over 3.5 at minus 152. So you'd build the 4, and the 4 would be like what, minus 116, something like that. TV Jones agrees, says Padres team total over or pass. When it comes to the sticks, neither team's hitting that hard. It shows the Twins hitting hard now with Buxton back over the last 5 games. And so it's tricky. This is probably a spot where the last 30 days isn't that helpful because they're 233, 671 OPS over the last 30 days, but Buxton's back and they're hitting. Padres versus lefties, 247, 694 OPS. They don't have power versus lefties. But they can get on base and they can do some damage. Let's take a look at the line history here. We've had a massive move to the Twins. Plus 128 to plus 104. A massive move to the Twins. Wow. And that's with Vasquez on the hill because this line didn't come out at a bunch of books until they were confirmed whether it was Vasquez or Musgrove. I told you that the books are very indicative of these journeyman pitchers. When the line moves towards them, they almost generally have strong starts. When it moves against them, it's fade, fade, fade. Look, this doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen every show. It'll happen, I'd say, when we let's say we cap 70 games, MLB games in a week. This will happen, 3 to 4 times, maybe 3 times. Look, everybody and their mama is on the Padres. 83% of tickets, 91% of cash. Prelup just allowed 8 earned runs. And there's a massive, massive move towards the Twins. The Twins are hitting. Buxton's back. But this just has to be trusted. Now, you guys don't have to. Again, I don't get these opportunities very often. My ROI is very strong with them. The market, I believe, is more powerful than our X's and O's, unfortunately. Although we can have conviction, we can change that script. Well, I don't see how you don't back the Twins. I mean, 90% of the cash and tickets on the Twins, on the Padres, and this is this violent move towards the Twins. I didn't expect this to be the case. I told you guys that we backed Vasquez when the books tell us to. Now they're telling us to fade Vasquez. So that's what I'm doing. We move on. 10:10 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Cubs, Seattle Mariners. We're at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. 26 minutes away from the daily session. I got to speed this up. We're at T-Mobile Park. At T-Mobile Park, minus 4% runs, plus 4% homers, minus 10% doubles and triples, and minus 5% singles. We have Matthew Boyd on the hill. 8-2, 4.02 ERA, 1.24 whips. Got a 4.99 expected ERA. He had a left bicep strain early in the year, and then he had a meniscus injury in May. Then in the rehab process, he hurt his shoulder, dealt with shoulder soreness, so he had to stop it. Hino Ball says Mariners. I wanted the Mariners. I was completely planning on backing the Mariners here in this spot. Great to see you, Jacqueline. Thank you for joining us. But I wanted more time to talk this all out here because Boyd has looked really bad the last few starts. And again, let's see if the market kind of tips their hand as to how to handle this. But he had a great start at the Royals. Now, that was before Witt came back, and they weren't hitting at all. Then he comes home to and faces the Cardinals, who also aren't hitting, and they're hitting a little more of last 2 weeks, but 7 earned runs over 5 and 30 gets lit up. So in his last 3 starts here, he has gone 19 innings. He's allowed 19 hits, 13 earned runs, 7 home runs. He's only struck out 8. Well, he's walked 7. Blackdoor King in the house. What up, Blackdoor King? Turnbuckle Tommy on the Cubs money line and the under 8. Turnbuckle Tommy says Cubs have 28 plate appearances versus Hancock with a 269 average to 1.093 OPS. Well, that would have been last year, when he had the ERA over 6 and was sent down to the minors. Tat the Cliff thinks Musgrove is starting for San Diego. So that's thank you, Tat the Cliff. So I'll list the pitchers here. I'll list Vasquez because he's listed at the book. So, but I'll keep an eye on it. Thank you, Tat the Cliff. Does anybody can anybody look it up right now so we have some more guidance on that? If that is just because of Musgrove pitching over Vasquez, I find that extremely interesting, that market move, and why the books haven't changed the pitcher. I've got the only place I've got Musgrove is on RotoWire. Everywhere else I have Vasquez. So, but he is pitching in this series against the Twins, so we'll see. Godfather sees Musgrove. Do you guys see who says Musgrove? Do you see a book with Musgrove? All the books I have here are listed. Here, so let's go quickly here. And then we got to move. I shouldn't be doing this. We don't have time, but it's crucial, obviously. All right, let's see here. Let's check this book here, and then we'll move past it. Yeah, all my books have listed Vasquez and listed Vasquez props. Okay, but back to here. We have Emerson Hancock on the other side of the fence here, and Hancock pitching well. 7 innings, 2 earned runs in his last start, 10-5 win at the Astros. Pitched nice. Start before that at home, 2 earned runs over 4 and 2/3 at the Rays. The Rays, stymied him. Pitched quite, But I trust Hancock here, and I would have no problem messing with Boyd. So let's just look at the line history here in a second. Let's first get into the bullpens. Mariners bullpen, 6.78 ERA, 1.58 WHIP. You'd have to focus on the first 5, I think, if you wanted the Mariners. The Cubs bullpen is pitching at a very high level, and they're playing very intense baseball games right now. So they're, feels like they're playoff ready. 3.05 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. Cubbies are hitting righties decently, but not with a ton of power of late. 245, 732 OPS, while the Mariners versus lefties are weak. 218, 655 OPS. Talk about a team way less than the sum of their parts. That is your Seattle Mariners. So let's get into the line history here for this one. We have an 11-cent move towards the Mariners from plus 105 to minus 106. Okay, so let's see if there's a price difference first 5. I think that we can move. I didn't have the conviction to move on this last night. There's been no move on the total. It's a 7.5 minus 125 to the over. And then when we get to the price difference, I think this will be crucial for me. The price difference here, first 5 and full game. Oh, man. Oh, here we go. We have the Mariners minus 108 full game. And I said this last night. I was hoping it'd be so much more expensive. Minus 111. So it's plus 100 for the Cubs full game. Minus 103 for... I don't know. I don't want to sell... I don't really want to sell the Mariners short, but my hot Swedish girlfriend play of the day is the Cubbies money line for Londo. I mean, is Boyd just going to keep pitching poorly? We can back Hancock at home. Nothing's changed for me. I'm on the fence here. I'm interested in Mariners first 5, but nothing has changed for me. Make sure that we got... I think I copied and pasted Londo's Swedish girlfriend. Oh, yeah, I did. So we're in business. TV Jones says, my numbers make Seattle minus 139. His offense showed up last 2 games in Milwaukee to an extent. Boyd is trash. I like the under and Mariners, but pushing the button on Seattle is impossible. I hear what you're saying. I didn't have the conviction to move on the Mariners last night, but I think that there's, with the way Boyd's pitching right now, there is an advantage with Hancock. We got to roll here. We don't have much time left. I'm going to keep thinking about that. I moved on 2 bets here in our final game on the board, Pirates-Dodgers. We're at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. We have Bubba Chandler, who is pitching like the bulldog that we remember from that short stint last year. He seems extremely confident. This is a huge opportunity for him to go up against the Dodgers, and I think that he can deliver here. Now the Dodgers are, playing for keeps now, and they're concerned clearly. Yamamoto 2.60 ERA, 0.89 WHIP. He's got 3.08 expected ERA. Yamamoto's a beast. He's so professional. I mean, he delivers every time he goes out there. He had that bad start right before the All-Star break against the Diamondbacks at home, but other than that, he's just been lights out. He's allowed more than 2 earned runs in one of these 5 starts. He's only allowed more than 1 earned run in 2 of them, but he allowed 2 earned runs in a complete game win at the Yankees. And he came back after that complete game and allowed 1 earned run over 6 innings in a 4-3 win at the Mets. He's just pitching at such a high level. The one start where he allowed more than 2 earned runs, he allowed 3 in 8 innings at home versus the Red Sox. LJ from H-Town says Ohtani off a no-hit game. Says y'all know what to do. Dodgers bullpen 5.07 ERA, 1.40 WHIP. Pirates bullpen 3.49 ERA, 1.33 WHIP. The Dodgers are starting to hit, and we'll wait to see for them to start exploding. But 252, 731 OPS. Pirates versus righties 235, 674 OPS. So I'm looking for 9 outs from Bubba Chandler. 9 outs from Bubba Chandler. So I made 2 bets here. I'm on the first 3 Pirates plus a half at minus 120. And I'm on the first 3 under 2.5 at minus 120. Now, I would like to see some movement here, but this is an 8, slightly juiced to the over. So, I mean, it doesn't need to be that much movement. But there was none when I looked this morning, and there's still none right now. And then that Pirates first 3 plus a half. So there's been no movement whatsoever. Now, maybe I should feel good about that, against the Dodgers with the Dodger tax. You have 86%. Oh, no, that's tomorrow. Sorry. Here we go. We have 93% of tickets, 92% of cash on the Dodgers. Line's not moving towards them. 75% of tickets on the over and 89% of cash on the over. Let's just take a look at the line movement here on the side. So there's been a 4-cent move to the over. But let me just check this money line here. There's been no movement. And that's always the fear when you get in early against the Dodgers, that you're going to wake up, there's going to be a 40 or 50 cent move against you. So it's a good thing that we don't have to worry about that here right now. Dope, Capo Raiders. Man, yeah, we're going to Woodbine tomorrow. Come up and say what up if you can. And have a great night tomorrow night, man. Be nice to have a couple drinks. The huge DJ show at the Amp. Okay, I will copy and paste that because we're gonna be ready to rock after that game. Hopefully the rain doesn't derail everything. All right, these are my moves in MLB. Here we got to go very quickly through the rest of the games. Atlanta, Milwaukee, first 3 under 1.5. Atlanta, Milwaukee, first 7 under 4.5. San Francisco, Boston, first 3 under 2. San Francisco, Boston, first 5 under 4. San Francisco, first 5 plus a half. Baltimore, first 5 money line. New York Mets, Chicago White Sox, first 3 under 2. New York Mets, Chicago White Sox, full game under 8. Chicago White Sox, first 5 minus a half. The Athletics, Houston, first 3 under 2.5. Arizona, first 5 money line minus 135. Pitt, LA, first 3 under 2.5. And Pittsburgh, first 3 plus a half at minus 120. That is my action. And then there's more that appeals. And look at our friend Nate Dogg gifting 5 Pub Sports Radio memberships. We have 3 Nate Doggs. We have Nasty Nate, we have Nate Dogg 420, and then our guy Nate Dogg here. Nate Dogg, thank you so much for thinking of us, caring about us, supporting the show. It means a ton to us. Nate Dogg also supports our fundraisers. Whenever we're looking out for somebody in our community who needs a helping hand, means a ton to us. Thank you so much. Make it make sense. Pass on the Gordon first 3 plus a half. Yeah, I'm going. If I move on the under, then that's a bet on Gordon. I'm not going to invest multiple units on the Rockies. It's just I can't do it. I have interest in the Mariners first 5. I'm going to move on the Twins here and list the pitchers. I expect that to be the case. And then I don't have a ton more additions. I think I move on the under in that Guardians-Rockies game. I think I move on that one. I want the Rangers first 5 money line. Scott K says best bet of the day. Let me just take a quick look here. I don't think there's a ton more additions. I'm not doubling down on that Athletics Houston game. Oh, I am sorry. So I do have of course, the Yankees game here. Let me get back up to it here. Rudy Cisneros, is great to see you, man. We'll get you right. Oh, Washington, of course. I'm moving on to Nationals. First 5+1/2 in the full game. I'm not going to wait any longer. I'm going to add that when the show's over. And then the Yankees game here. God, take me so long to get up. My notes are so thick. So it could be a Philadelphia New York Yankees first 5 money line parlay. I think I'll do that. And then the first 5 over in Jays Yankees. So those will be my additions. All right, we got to move very quickly through the rest of the games. I apologize for focusing so heavily on Major League Baseball, but it's that time of year, man. Okay, we roll into the National Football League. Jets Steelers. We're at Acrisure Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Aaron Glenn 1-3 in the preseason. Mike McCarthy 33-34. Jets coming off a 24-16 loss at home to the Buccaneers in Week 1 of the preseason. Klubnik was the starter. It was supposed to be Geno Smith, but he had ankle soreness. Now Geno Smith will be starting today. Klubnik looked great in 2 drives. Jets put up 10 points. Klubnik 5-7, 56 yards. He looked great. Zappi came in and threw 2 picks and looked bad. I think Zappi should look better here, but that was terrible. And then Brady Cook, who of course, when the season was falling apart, started 4 games last year. They're dealing with injuries. Breece Hall and their first-round draft pick, Kenyon Sadiq, both out. Steelers look very good in their season-opening 28-9 win over the Packers. Rudolph started, and Mason looked great, 10 of 11 for 93 yards. He looked really good. But who else looked good? Drew Allar, and this Drew Allar-Will Howard combination. So that's what we're getting. There's no Rudolph. There's no Rodgers. It's Drew Allar and Howard. And, this is a pretty impressive combination. Allar was picked 3rd round by out of Penn State, of course. 10-13 for 154 yards. Will Howard came in, went 7-9 for 86 yards. They combined to go 17-22 for 239 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, I would like to fade that, honestly, them feeling so good about themselves. The Steelers outgained the Packers 385 to 160. Now, if you fade that, you have to bet the Jets. I unfortunately told Elio on my way down to the baseball game to bet the Jets double result. Oh, God. A friend should never call another friend and say, bet the Jets. So let's take a look here at the line history for these spots. God, racing against the clock here. We have a huge move. Now, Rod Zwacky's been fading all of these moves, and he's 8-0 on them. Just crushing. And we did spark his interest in preseason action. But Jets go from +3 to -1.5. Yeah, I mean, sure. I just lack that conviction. This total has gone from 39.5 to 37.5. It is currently climbing right now. It got all the way down to 36. Both games soared over yesterday. I expect this to continue to climb. And then when we get to the cash flow here for the spot, we have 77% of the tickets, 76% of the cash on Pittsburgh, and yet there's this move towards the Jets. 65% of tickets on the under and 75% cash on the under. God, I mean, how do you do this here? I want to fade Allar and Howard for feeling so good about themselves. I want to fade I like that this line's been 4.5 points towards the Jets and the public's on Pittsburgh. But how do you fade 8-0 of these big line moves? It's very, very difficult to do that. So I do have some interest in the under. I'm not going to move on now. I expect the total to climb. And I do it. It's so sick to say it, but I have interest on the Jets. Londo's on the Jets money line. I mean, with this new coach, clearly the Steelers players are pushing hard. Maybe they already did that against the Packers, and they're going to let go a little bit. Let's move on. We have Panthers, Jaguars, Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. And here's another move that is pretty wild. So let's get in just quickly to this line history. This total's gone from 39.5 to 36.5. So we've had a big move to the under. On the spread, Carolina's gone from +2.5 to -1.5. Now, we did see a market move towards the 49ers cash, but I don't think it was big enough to fit the criteria that Rod Zweig has been using. We have Canales 2-5 in the preseason. Liam Cohen 1-2. Carolina comes in off that ugly 29-14 loss in Buffalo in their second game of the preseason. They defeated Arizona in the Hall of Fame game. And Bryce Young looked horrible. I mean, 3 of 5 for 18 yards. That was 3 and out. I mean, his offensive line is hurting, and so he didn't have a very good offensive line. John Preston says preseason is when I like the Jets. It's an acceptable statement. That's so funny. But Kenny Pickett came in and looked great. 6 of 19 for 92 yards. Looked very good. Maybe that's part of this. Jacksonville won their first preseason game 24-20 at New Orleans. Nick Mullins started at quarterback. Trevor Lawrence sat out. Now, we know that we've been told by Liam Cohen that Trevor Lawrence will start here, and the first-team offense is scheduled to play a few series. The Jaguars have been dominating Carolina in these joint practices. I'm surprised to see. I mean, how much is Carter Bradley going to play? I think, if this is Pickett versus Carter Bradley, then there's an advantage with Carolina, but I'm certainly hesitate to move on them. Cash flow wise, 80% of the tickets and 69% of cash are on Jacksonville. 54 and 72 on the under. I mean, we can expect Bryce Young to be better. I don't know if I can move on Carolina, and then the under's just gone too far past me. And the final spot on the board, I did move on. Look, we don't have enough time to talk about all this, but I moved on the Broncos and the Broncos double result. There was a long period of time where John Harbaugh was just, you bet on the Ravens in every single preseason game. There's a new Harbaugh, and his name's Sean Payton. They've won 8 straight. They're dominating teams. And I know that the Packers were embarrassed in that first game and that they're going to be much better here. But, we're going to see Bo Nix out there. So Bo Nix and Jordan Love are going to start. Stidham is just an absolute beast in the preseason. And I couldn't stop myself. So, look, if this was so easy with the Ravens, and now is this just going to be so easy with Denver? I got the double result at -110. I got the Broncos -6 at -107. This was a 6.5 for a little while. Maybe I'm making this too easy. Maybe that'll hurt me. But these bets I've moved on. Broncos and Broncos. Let's get into the WNBA here. We've been crushing the WNBA. I watched Olivia Miles. I was watching that Valks game because we moved live on the Valks on our night show at +13.5. And we just cashed it they lost by 11. And still, I don't know if it's just exhaustion from capping all week, but I didn't move immediately, on the Mystics at +5.5. Now it's a +2. So I'm just going to let that go. This total's gone from 165.5 to 166.5. There's nothing I can do about it. Here, in the next spot on the board, we have the Valkyrie Chicago Sky. And the Sky, 9-9 at home. Well-coached team, playing more than the sum of their parts. This total opened up at 163.5. It is 163.5. And the Sky are sitting here at +6.5. The Valks just got embarrassed. They just got embarrassed by the Lynx at home from their home crowd. Now they face the Lynx again. So is this a spot where they're going to, be looking past the Sky, focusing on the Lynx? I don't think they are. They're a well-coached team. I think they come out firing in the first quarter as an angry group. But Chicago Sky being very good to us. So I'm very hesitant to make the move. Right now, there's been no movement. Let's go over to the cash flow here. I think it would be helpful for these two games. We have a Golden State has 87 to 89% of the cash. That's a lot of money on them. Might be worth making a move on the Sky. But I can't. I'm not going to fade the Golden State Valkyrie after getting embarrassed. This could be a day I just stay off of the WNBA. We're running so hot. I just don't want to mess with it. In the Portland-Toronto game, that game's being played in Vancouver. It's going to be sold out at GM Place. We have 67% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on Portland. We know that Mabry's out of the lineup, but Sykes is going to be back in the lineup. There's only been a 1-point move towards Portland despite Mabry being out. This is not the most important game of the year for the Tempo. That was at Scotiabank in front of their own fans. This total's gone from 186.5 to 182 here. We have Turbuckle Tommy says Lynx money line down to -135. May have to move on that. And then AM is on the Sky +6.5. And Blackdoor King saying the only one out is Fee. That Olivia Miles is playing despite the ankle injury. Then we've got to roll on here. We've got to put a bow on the proceedings. I'm sorry we didn't have more time. I'm on the Edmonton Elks tonight, -5.5, and I'm on the double result. I moved on both those bets last night. Look, the the Bombers, like, can't we just put down, like, who cares if the Bombers just beat the Red Blacks by margin? Alouettes just beat them by 30 last night. The Red Blacks are terrible. Zach Collaros is not playing well. Brady Oliveira is banged up. Collaros, look, 21 to 31 for 222 yards against the Red Blacks. I mean, I know that you don't need to put up big numbers against the Red Blacks. You can beat them in other ways. The big part of this is that the Bombers are the worst run defense in the CFL, and this is the best running offense in the Elks. I think the Elks just take care of business here. Hamilton, Tiger Cats, Toronto Argonauts. I'm on the Argonauts double result. There's rain now in the forecast, and this total's moved heavily to the under. I should have known that. Knowing that we're going to be at the racetrack today, I was so confident in my Argonaut, buying the Argonauts low and selling the Ticats high off beating the defending champions. I'm on the Argonauts double result, but we'll see if the rain changes things here. And then Roughriders, Lions. Look, you know how much I love the Lions. I'm in love with the Lions. When they started out 1-5, I was like, what a gift. I missed the 25-1. I was talking to Slats about moving on it, and then as we were talking, they announced that Rourke was going to be back and moved to 20-1. So I put 250 on it because I already have a big bet on the plus 750, and I didn't want to have too much money invested in the Lions. As Big Zo says, Hamilton's D does scare him. Blue Bombers plus 5.5, Ticats plus 4.5, and the Lions money line for AM. I got the Lions plus 1.5 here, and I love it. And I will look to live bet them as well. But it is we are selling the Roughriders low. That is our show for today. Thank you guys so much. Have a great time over at the Daily Sesh here. Please put the link here in the chat here. And TJ is on the Elks with me, minus 4.5. It did slightly move against us. I took the 4.5. Light Cheese, thank you for that. I'll copy and paste that. You guys all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I wish you guys I'll give you a shout out, but you need a couple minutes before the Daily Sesh starts, so we will put a bow on this. We got lots of announcements to make on our Monday morning show. Thank you to Swiggy on the ones and twos, doing such a great job, and thank you all for supporting us here at Pub Sports Radio. It means the world to us. We put in so much work, so thank you for your support. Let's go milk these bookies, man. Let's go get this cash. On behalf of all this Pub Sports Radio, let's rock. And if you're in Toronto, come meet us at Woodbine. I cannot wait. The sun is shining, and we got thoroughbreds to gamble on, whiskey to drink. Get that cash. Leche. Hey, los bookmaker.
It's easier to sleep in the black when you're losing your ass and feeling so